Hello, thank you for joining us today on this webinar where you can ask an expert anything in the nursing field. I'm Ben Trebilcock. I work for the University of Plymouth International College, and joining me alongside me is Kevin Hambridge and Izzy Kellaway. I'll leave you introduce yourself first, Kevin.
I'm Kevin Hambridge. I'm Associate at the School for Marketing and lecturing adult nursing.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm a Student Recruitment Coordinator here at UPIC, University of Plymouth International College. So here to help answer any questions you have regarding your offer with us.
Fantastic. And how long have you been working for the university, Kevin?
Well, I trained to be a nurse 30 years ago, so I had 15 years in practice, and then I've been 15 years here in the university lecturing.
Fantastic. And yourself, Izzy?
So I've been Student Recruitment Coordinator here for almost 2 years now.
Fantastic, fantastic. So we'll crack straight on with the nursing questions, as I'm sure that we've had plenty emailed in advance. So thank you to anyone who has sent in your questions. We'll do our best to get through them during the webinar time, and we've also got some slides that we can share with you throughout the presentation. So Kevin, I'll start off with you. Can you first explain to everyone what the different types of nursing that a student can embark on, and what are the specialisms?
Yeah, there's three main types of nursing which we cover within our programs at the Plymouth University. One of those is adult nursing, and one of those is child nursing, and one of those is mental health nursing. So obviously with adult nursing, we look after adults who might have acute illnesses or long-term conditions, helping them maybe with health promotion, and we're looking after them in a whole range of settings. So some of the care may be happening in community areas in their own home, and some of that happening in hospitals. There's child health nursing, and again, some of that is looking after critically ill children, or maybe health promotion for children, young people and families over quite a broad age range. And mental health nursing, where student nurses are using therapeutic relationships and their clinical skills and communication skills to help patients in community hospitals, in acute hospitals, with a whole range of different types of mental health issues. And for those three programs, we run that at a 3-year BSc program, and also new to us is a 4-year MSc program, where you can choose 2 of those specialities. So if you had a burning interest in, say, adult nursing and child nursing, you could do a 4-year master's degree, and you would then have a master's degree and also registration within those 2 fields. That's a brand new program that's been validated this year, and we're going to be starting that this September.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And Izzy, can you briefly explain to everyone the foundation in health and human sciences that leads on to these courses?
Okay, so our foundation program is made for students that perhaps don't quite have the grades or the qualifications to gain entry directly into the university. But what our foundation year does is prepares you for the types of study that you would get, and kind of different learning skills, how to reference, and generally the different techniques you will need in order to kind of progress into the university degree. So it gives you everything you need. It's just a really great preparation year, and extra added support if you need additional English help as well, and just kind of integrating you into living in a different city away from home.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it's all about the support, extra support international students will receive when coming over to study these courses. It's a bit of a safety net, a bit of a soft landing to ensure that you're supported to make sure you succeed on whichever course and whichever specialism of the 3 you decide to go for. So Kevin, my next question is again for you. We've had some students through the application process asking to know the necessary tips in order to be a successful nurse, and perhaps the traits that they're looking for in interviews. Now, I understand you used to be on the interview panel, so you've been on the other side of this before. So can you tell us what are there's a 6 C's model. So can you tell us what's the perfect blueprint for a perfect nurse that you're looking for?
Well, it's multifaceted really. So it's there's not one type of person who would be an ideal nurse. There's different kind of characteristics that we're looking for, and our interview processes that we have, where people write for a little while about a topic, and they do some numeracy, and also have 2 very short interviews. Hopefully then we're choosing the right people by trying to identify certain traits they may have. And some of those traits relate to what we call the 6 C's of nursing. So because of some of the issues that might have happened within nursing and healthcare over the years, there's a kind of a blueprint of kind of behaviours which we're expecting nurses and our student nurses to have. One of those will be things like having a very caring approach to the world, really. So, and that caring could be, caring for patients in different types of settings. They may have experience of that, but it may also be caring for family members and friends and things like that in a whole range of different types of areas. Being very compassionate will be another attribute we're looking for, and that's in different facets of people's life, thinking about dignity and respect and showing empathy to not only their friends and their family members, but maybe also to caring they might have done. Being competent as well. So the kind of rigorous process that our student nurses go through over the 3-year, 4-year programs means they're going to be very competent at a whole range of nursing skills. But based on people's background and their different roles they may have had in previous life, they might be very expert in different types of skills. And it'd be very interesting for us to find out what those skills are. It doesn't always have to be health related, but they have some expertise that they've gained. Being a good communicator is obviously a really important facet of being a nurse and a student nurse, and that's kind of verbal communication as well as non-verbal communication in a whole range of settings. We like students who are committed, so to put people, put yourself up to study a 3-year or 4-year nursing degree is quite a big commitment in your life, in which case then we want to choose the right people who we know are going to be committed to that. And also being courageous and having courage. It's hopefully going to be very rare, but you might come across circumstances where they feel they can make massive improvements to patients' care and people's lives, in which case then it'd be very important that we choose the right people who would be courageous enough to speak up on the patient's behalf and help to improve things. Linked to that is things like working in a team, having a good work ethic, lots of transferable skills that can come over from a whole range of different roles and jobs that people might have had in their lives, but also having that education as well. So, having studied at the right level, which means they can then tackle a 3-year, BSc course or a 4-year master's course and be fully prepared for that education.
Fantastic. So can we just repeat the 6 C's in order then? So we've got care, compassion, competence, communication, commitment, and courage is the 6. So do look that up online. It's a commonly used model, so you can research that as well. And you can also download the Ultimate Guide to UK Nursing Degrees on the UPIC website, where you'll find that information shared in the guide as well. Building on that answer, Kevin, we've had a question from Priscilla. She says, I have no experience as a nurse. Can I still apply? And what are the entry requirements? I mean, first of all, can she apply? And do we often receive applications from people with no nursing experience?
Yes, as a work I've done, some research that I did, I found out that roughly about half of people who apply for nursing programs have got healthcare experience and half haven't. So it's not a definite we need to have that, but for people who haven't got any healthcare experience, we'll be obviously looking at what they have been doing during that period of time. And people can get experiences in a whole range of different types of areas and gain a whole range of skills that will be very transferable into nursing. So I've been thinking about things like working in teams. So maybe working in schools, maybe working in colleges, maybe working in roles where there's a team effort and you're part of a team. And obviously those can give you certain types of qualities and attributes that we'd be looking for. People will sometimes want to volunteer in their life and work for charities, in which case then they can gain a whole range of skills and experiences from volunteering that might tick boxes for us. And the work that people sometimes do that relates to kind of customer service. So again, some of the best students we've ever had may have had no healthcare experience, but they have worked in hospitality. They've worked in hotels and cafes and shops and worked with the public, which means the fact that they're not only working in a team, but they're communicating very effectively and maybe problem solving things and helping the public. So you don't always have to have a healthcare background. It obviously will help in certain parts, but it's not totally essential because you can have a whole range of skills and attributes and behaviours that we're looking for from a whole range of jobs and roles that you may have played before you came here.
Fantastic, thank you, Kevin. And you touched upon it earlier in terms of the other end of the scale. What if someone is perhaps overqualified? They've, for example, already got a diploma in nursing, but they'd like to study further. I think you mentioned there's some master's options and further study. Can you just explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, that's right. So we've got an admissions team here who can look at different qualifications that people may have And obviously it's hard to be very specific now, but obviously people have qualifications of different types from all over the world. But we've got a very competent admissions team here that can obviously have a look at people's qualifications and work out then if that's sufficient to come onto the programme. And also it sometimes means the fact that people may have qualifications that we can, what we call APEL, so it may be in some cases, if people have studied to a high level in certain subjects, they may be able to get part of the modules for free. But also, if you have got a BSc already, so some people may have a degree, an existing degree, and if that's at 2.2 and above, and people have healthcare experience, that can give them access to a 2-year master's degree that we have as well. So we're aware that some people might already have a degree, they want to go a total change of direction, but they can use that towards a 2-year shortened version of a master's degree as well. So there's different routes in with different qualifications, and as I say, our competent admissions team here can help people with those queries.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Kevin. And you'll see displayed on the screen now our English language requirements for study. So depending on which country you're from, there'll be a huge matrix of the required grades. So do inquire separately, and as Kevin said, our admissions team can see your entry point. In terms of English language requirements, we do accept the IELTS score, but we often use other English language courses as well. So if you haven't got IELTS, don't worry. Give us a call and we can say whether you need to do the foundation year or whether you can study directly with the University of Plymouth first year, or whether you'll be looking to go straight on to a master's course. So there's plenty of options, and if you fall short of some of the IELTS scores, then fear not again. We do plenty of pre-sessional English courses that can last up to 2 full terms. So we capture a wide spectrum of age ranges, abilities. So the door's always open for students who want to start nursing. It just depends on where the starting point is in your study. So I will now go on to Izzy. I'll give you a little rest, Kevin. And we'll come back to talk about nursing specifically in about 10 minutes' time. So Izzy, I just wanted to ask you, going off on a slight tangent now, but we're talking about the University of Plymouth. What's the city like? What's it like living here?
Plymouth's a great city. Our students love it. You perhaps might not have heard of Plymouth at first. You maybe if you're considering studying in the UK, you might have only heard of London, for instance. So from London to Plymouth, it's 3 hours direct on a train. So it's quite easy to get to if perhaps you've got family or friends there you'd like to visit over a weekend. But the advantages of living in Plymouth are that we're fussy by the coast, the city, countryside, so you kind of get the best of everything, I think. So the city centre, the university itself, we're right in the middle of the city centre. So as you can see here on this map, we're kind of like the orange, the university campus, and then down where like the green is, that's the sea, basically. So from those 2 points, it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to walk, so everything's super close together. And I think that's a major advantage the city has. You don't have to spend any money on public transport or like getting around. Your accommodation's bound to be within like 5 to 10 minutes walk of your lesson. So if you have a lecture at 9 AM on a Monday morning, you can literally set your alarm for 8:45 and not be late. Something that like feedback we always get from students is that it's really friendly. They feel really safe, kind of walking around the city, like, even at night and things. And yeah, it's a fun place to be. So this slide here just shows some of the events that we have going on. So every summer we have a big kind of like music festival of all different acts come to perform. Every August we have the National Firework Championships, which is a really cool event which happens on Plymouth Hoe, which you can see in the top left picture as well. In the summer this is just like really nice and chill. Students like to go and have like fish and chips or pizza there after studying. So it's nice that you're in an environment where when you're not working, you have the most amazing countryside around you to kind of relax and really just enjoy yourself with friends. And I kind of think, if you have a certain budget, why waste all of that on accommodation when then you don't have any money to maybe go out and enjoy yourself with friends, whereas here you can have very affordable accommodation, really close to city centre, and you have all these amazing kind of activities on your doorstep.
And lots of it's free as well. So I've been here about 30 years, but I'll never get bored with walking around the Hoe and seeing the sea from there. Obviously, I have a picture at the bottom there of some horses. So I live in the north of the city, and about a mile away, you've got wild horses running around, and it's all free. And you can walk around there all day and enjoy the countryside. So You don't have, we have to pay for your entertainment.
Yeah.
It's got lots of things that are free.
Yeah.
I think there'll be plenty of opportunity to make your friends jealous on Instagram, WeChat, or whatever social media channels you use. It's a pretty stunning area, very popular with tourism as well. So
yeah, we also run like events kind of each term to go to a different area. Where Ben, you just recently went to the Eden Project with some of our students.
Did indeed, yeah.
We go to Bath, Christmas shopping, just to discover the different areas around, really. But yeah, when you're here in a week, you know, in the week you have lots to do after lessons, lots to get involved in, like Kevin said, for free as well.
Absolutely.
It's a very safe city as well, isn't it? So again, as I've lived here for 30 years and I've never had any kind of bother at all. And I've walked around the city centre, even I've come back at night, you know, from the training, the buses, and I've never had any problems at all. So it's quite a safe place to be.
Totally, absolutely. Thank you both of you. I now want to just talk about briefly why study nursing at the University of Plymouth. There are obviously many universities around the world that can offer these courses. So why the UK for nursing, and why Plymouth in particular? And the reason why Plymouth is one of the leading universities for nursing is because we're a very research-focused university, and our research centres around saving either people or the planet. So when it comes to the planet, we're full of sustainability here. We've got some zero waste initiatives going on at the university. Some of the cafes have vegetarian Mondays to try and encourage people to rely less on eating meat. And yeah, it's just a really sustainable, all the courses, architecture, they focus on sustainability, and marine, we're featured in the BBC's plastic-free programme. So once again, it's sustainability and saving lives. Now, when it comes to saving lives, on the other hand, we're ranked #1 nationally for clinical medicine research output. And I just wanted to talk you through some of the accolades we've had and some of the collaborations we're doing at the moment with various partners. So we're currently creating a dementia screening app. This is with Dr. Craig Newman. He's from the university, and he's working to develop ACE Mobile. And it's the first tool of its kind supporting doctors and nurses through the whole process of a common dementia screening assessment known as Addenbrookes Cognitive Examination 3. We're also creating water testing technology, once again, going back to the environment. Now, big one, we're helping to tackle antibiotic resistance with our research. So you'll have heard that antibiotics are becoming less effective as time goes on. New bacteria are developing that can fight off current antibiotics. So we're working in collaboration with researchers to develop new antimicrobial agents, and it's launching a spin-out company called Amprologics to drive potentially life-saving work. So these are examples of some of the projects you might be able to get involved in as your degree progresses, as you get right towards the end of your degree. You may be asked or be involved in some of these research collaborations to make life-changing and world-changing research happen and make it become a reality. So it's quite a powerful thing to have your name on a research paper or a dissertation that really gets used and makes a difference in the world. So this is where Plymouth is, as I said, ranked #1 for medical research in the UK. So it's a leading university in this area. And once again, going back to sustainability, we're also developing harvesting robots for agriculture. Obviously, that's less relevant for nursing, but if you come here, you will notice the sustainability element to the university because it's in everything we do. You'll notice it in the cafes, recycling cups. So you'll be around like-minded students. If you care about the planet, you're going to study alongside students like that. So that's a bit more. Did you have anything to add?
Yeah. Some of our nursing students have been involved in some research locally, using social media to attract more younger people to come and access healthcare. And there's one in Cornwall, which is the neighbouring county to here, where our student nurses happened to be in a placement, and they got involved in a project. And because they were obviously very savvy with Facebook and Twitter, they managed to set up some systems where it was attracting young people to access their doctor to talk about mental health issues and about sexual health. And because we were part of that project, they then went around. One went to a conference in the UK, one went to a conference in Spain, and then presented that work as well. So we actively do encourage our students to be involved in research if they get opportunities. And that's another area where some of our students go into when they qualify as well.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kevin. And we'll come back to you again in a moment, Kevin, and talk about the research and other elements of our nursing courses. I'd just like to touch upon what students can expect when they arrive in Plymouth. Firstly, what can they expect? Lots of support, and what happens as soon as they arrive, perhaps in September, January or April, depending on which semester they arrive in.
Well, in terms of support, students can expect that before they arrive. So leading up to whichever intake you're joining us in, for nursing, it will always be September you are joining us in. But I try to really make sure that you feel comfortable with the members of staff here before you arrive. So I send out Zoom invites, so please look out for these in your emails so we can have kind of a chat like this webinar where you can ask any other questions specific to joining, like what day should I arrive, when do I need to be in my accommodation by, what's happening in orientation week. We'll also send out all of that in an email, but yeah, feel free to get in contact at any point if you have any questions. We have a really great student support team here at the college, based inside the college. So we've got Toby, Drew, Millie and Philly. So they're all going to be here to help you enroll, make sure you've got all the documents you need, all the kind of practical side of things. Also kind of just be there to have a chat. If you have any problems at all, you can come in any day. We also have a mobile number you can call 24 hours if you have any problems. In terms of arriving in the UK, we can arrange an airport pickup to get you from whichever airport you fly into, or if you come into the train station, that's basically in our back garden at the college, so we can just walk across and meet you, bring you here. We like to make sure you're kind of settled in your accommodation first, so Rob, our colleague from Clever Student Lets, will generally come and pick you up, take you to your accommodation, get you settled, and then you can worry about all the paperwork you need to bring in the next day, and all kind of the technical bits. But yeah, we've got a great team here, and I think students, even when they finish their foundation or their first year of us here at the International College and they progress on to the university, I still see them, for a couple of years I've worked here, they're still coming back. Faces I don't recognise that were here maybe 3-4 years ago, but they're coming back to say hello to the staff here because they're just passing by and they want to pop in for a chat. And I think it's a really nice kind of environment to be in, and you can tell that, they genuinely feel supported by the team here. Absolutely,
it's such a wide and diverse community of international students. I think we don't have more than 15% of any one nationality. So whichever country you're from, you're bound to be. It's just a complete mixture, and everyone makes friends so quickly because of that, because they come from so many different cultures and walks of life, and it's just one big community. So it's just a really good culture here, really, isn't it? And everyone feels at home. And if there are any problems, that's what the International College and also the University of Plymouth are here to do, to help you settle in. Moving on then, we'll go back to you, Kevin. We've had a question in from Laura, and we'll go back onto nursing now rather than discussing the University of Plymouth specifically. Laura would like to know what are the different types of work placements available on the nursing courses.
Yep, so with the nursing courses, half of the time people are spending in the university learning the theory side of nursing, so that can be in combinations of lectures and seminar sessions and simulations as well. So we've got a brand new simulation ward set up that's going to be opening in September as well, with kind of very high functioning mannequins and equipment as well. So it's mocked up like a ward, and then part of it will be mocked up like someone's front room. So it gives people a chance then to practice lots of skills in that safe environment. So lots of different ways of learning, lots of different ways of teaching, and that's 50% of the programme. The other 50% of the programme is practical, that's based in placement. So each year, every student gets 2 placements, 2 work placements, which means then they can work alongside a nurse and all the other health professionals for roughly 2 months each time in a whole range of different types of areas to get a really good broad range of nursing. And we're very lucky down this part of the world where we've got some big hospital trusts, and they do specialise in a whole range of different types of medicine and nursing as well. So our students will get a really, really good broad range of nursing. And some of that will be in hospitals, so it will be in areas such as surgical areas and people having operations. It can be in areas such as emergency departments. It can be in theatres, it can be in medical environments. So lots of different variety of placements in a hospital, but then also placements in the community. So some of those could be working alongside a district nurse and caring people in their own homes as well. So 6 placements in total over the 3 years, and each one lasting about 2 months. and you're fully supported then, work alongside a trained nurse, and then we have a link here from the university who can make visits to you as well in placement to make sure everything's going well. And when you're out in placement, you'll then have a range of competencies that you'll achieve. So taking a blood pressure, and taking blood and things like that as well. So as well as in the university, being assessed with essays and some tests in the practice area as well, there'll be competencies that students have to attain.
So students won't be in the same placement for the whole 3-year duration. That's correct. So they'll do a range.
Yes, the key thing is we make sure that every student gets, as far as possible, the same kinds of experience. So some of those will be in very acute areas in hospitals, but also some of those will be obviously in community care for people with perhaps long-term conditions in their own home. So it'll be just a very big variety, which people seem to like as well. So
fantastic, fantastic. And in terms of the location of these work placements, are they all based in Plymouth?
So we've got quite a big catchment area where we have our placements, and our students generally live in Plymouth, the local ones, but some do travel maybe up to say 100 miles or so to get to Plymouth to do their studies. So hence we do cover Cornwall, which is the neighbouring county, within Devon, and also with the neighbouring county to the east, which is called Somerset as well. So, but generally speaking, the work placements, if we can, we'll make it as near to where the person's accommodation is. But with any healthcare course, and especially a nursing course, there has to be some travelling around to neighbouring areas in order to make sure you get the full complement of learning. So generally speaking, our students might travel about an hour away from Plymouth to some of the placements, but there's lots of advice about transport and travelling. A lot of our students have cars and help people to car share and transport people around. So as I said earlier on, people are very, very friendly. And also with student nurses, everyone's in the same boat together, and they all know the practicalities of moving around and travelling around. But there's, again, very good transport systems from Plymouth, so some of our students use buses and trains to move to neighbouring areas to do their practice sometimes. I think I say they can sometimes car share as well, which is a good thing. Some of our placements, say for instance if your placement was an hour away and maybe it was in the winter time, some of our students do decide to work say 4 shifts a week in that placement and then maybe stay overnight for a couple of nights, and there is accommodation that we can help people to arrange. They're sometimes only about 5 minutes away from the hospital placement where they are, in which case that sometimes saves people a bit of travelling back and forth late at night and first thing in the morning.
And when there is accommodation that comes in handy at a new location, that's usually NHS provided most often, and I believe that's fairly discounted.
Well, there's different ways. I mean, students have got their own version of like TripAdvisor. So because there's we've got about 1,000 students any time, nursing students out in placements, but they'll all know the safest and the cheapest placement accommodation. So in which case then they have their own community of sharing that information. So, but if someone has had to work in say Exeter before, which is about a 40-minute drive away from Plymouth, there will be hundreds and thousands of students who've worked there before, and some of those may have stayed overnight, and they'll be able to share that information about the cheapest and safest places to stay in hospital. Some of that is based in the hospital itself, but sometimes in very close to where they are.
Thank you very much. So all of that cost information is on the UPIC website, so you can have an understanding of where your placements may be if they're not in Plymouth, and have an idea of the costs with regards to travel and accommodation as well, so you can bear that in mind as part of your application. And last question for you, Kevin, at the moment, what's the result of the work placement? So we focus half of our courses on that, and I'm pleased to say 98% of our students, once they graduate, within 6 months they're in employment or further study. So would you attribute that to the focus on work placements that we have with our course?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really strong blend between, practical and education. So when I did my training 30 years ago or more, it was 80% was practical, working on the wards, and only 20% of the time I was actually in the university. And now we've got that nice 50-50 blend. It means the fact that people can then link theory to practice much more effectively, and also have good rationales about why they're doing certain things and performing certain types of skills. So I think it's really, really important to have that 50-50 split, and it's obviously shown to be very, very effective because we've got thousands of nurses who've graduated from Plymouth University and have gone out into the big wide world and become really, really successful in what they've done.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kevin. Izzy, we'll go back to you now. Are there any age requirements for the courses? This question comes in from Abigail, by the way. So, are there any age requirements?
Okay, so in order to apply for our foundation here at UPIC, there's no age, there's no age requirement specifically for that, but you must be 18 by the time that you start your placement at the university. So, for instance, you could apply for your foundation when you're 16, 17, do your foundation. But then I think, Kevin, is it in the first term it's more theory, and then in the second term you go into your placement?
Right. I mean, generally speaking, when we start in September, about the third week of September, we want people to be 18 by that point in time. But they would spend maybe the first term up until Christmas in the university, and the first placements then would start after Christmas, between Christmas and Easter.
If you are one of the younger ones and you're thinking, oh, am I going to be 18 by the time I join the university? Just get in contact, let me know your date of birth, and we can double check that everything's going to be okay for you to join the university after your foundation in time. But yeah, just bear in mind that you can do the foundation first when you're not 18, as long as you're 18 when you join university.
And the beauty of it as well, based on some of the information we've got, that again, the youngest people we've got on the course is 18, and the kind of older person on the course is 62. So it's a very big, broad range of people from lots of different types of backgrounds and experiences. There's also a big difference in age as well. So you're never too young and you're never too old.
Fantastic, thank you. And we've got a question for everyone to see how well you've been listening. So we go on to the next slide. So earlier, Kevin touched upon the blueprint for being a perfect nurse. So what traits are required? So we'll just give you 10 seconds here. There are 4 traits that are shown there. Which one is not part of the blueprint for being the perfect nurse? So we have courage, creativity, compassion, and commitment. I'll give you 5 more seconds. Okay, and now the answer. So creativity is one of the things that's not required. Obviously, we don't want people coming up with new cures. We follow the textbook, I think, is best for nursing. So creativity is not one. And as I said, the 6 C's model can be found in the Ultimate Guide to UK Nursing Degrees, which is on the UPIC website. So moving on, I just thought I'd allow Izzy to explain a little more about life in Plymouth. We did have a question in from a student, actually, and we can see the information on crime there. So Plymouth is one of the safest student cities in England. The question in particular is a student asking, what is student life like in Plymouth? Do I need to worry about a racist attack? So, Izzy, can you explain if the student has anything to fear whatsoever?
Well, I think you just explained it there before. Really, by saying it's one of the safest student cities. And obviously, Kevin also touched on that earlier without kind of even meaning to. But yeah, our students, it's one of the top things I hear back by parents as well, especially parents that are, you know, it is worrying, you know, your child going away for the first time to a different city, and as a student too, you might not be scared at all about leaving home, but you might be. You might feel like, oh, this is a big change, and it is. You know, I was scared when I moved away to go to university, and you know, I wasn't travelling very far. But it is a really safe student city, and in fact, we've been voted one of the top student safe. Sorry, I got my words.
Second safest.
Yeah. Second safest, I think it was, student city in the UK, in fact. Also with the What Uni Student Choice Awards, we were voted top 5 for international students. And that's something that was voted for by our students, actually. So they picked the shortlist. It wasn't made up of, you know, different panelists. The panelists were students. But yeah, the student life is over 18,000 students, like Ben said. It's made up not by one kind of nationality, but a really good mix of students here and home students as well. So obviously part of travelling to the UK to study is to kind of mix with the students that are from the UK and kind of, you know, improving your English and kind of getting to know different cultures as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we can also see an statistic there on how cost effective Plymouth is as a city. Can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
So, yeah, as I kind of touched upon again earlier with the accommodation, I think that's a really clear example of how you can save money and how it's cost effective. So, for instance, the average price of accommodation here would probably be about £100 a week. If you were looking at accommodation in London, it would be easily double that. And you'll probably get a bigger room for your money here. So it's not that it's cheap, it's really cost effective. You get a lot for your money. And also the fact you don't have to pay for any tubes, any metros, any buses really to get around. Everywhere's walking distance. And when you walk around, it's beautiful scenery around you as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Izzy. So we've got one more question for you now. It's the last question. So, what percentage of University of Plymouth nursing students enter work or further study within 6 months of graduating? So they're all pretty high figures here. And one of the main things we want to do, obviously, is if you're paying tuition fees, you want to do a course, it's important that you see a return on that investment over time, and it's important that you therefore get a job from your degree. So are we at 94%, 96%, 98%, or 100% employment rate within 6 months of graduating? I'll give you 5 more seconds. And we are 98%. So not 100, whether the 2% decide to go on a gap year or something, it does happen. So
I mean, from our point of view, we're happy that 100% of our students, when they graduate, are employable for life. So they gain all those skills and attributes. And again, it wouldn't be unusual for our students here to have job offers a whole year in advance of qualifying. And again, some of my own personal students have sometimes about 5 job offers. They can actually then cherry pick which job they want to do at the end. So
in demand, eh?
Oh yeah. So they've got fantastic opportunities with nursing.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And I'll carry on that conversation as we near towards the end of the webinar now. I wanted to ask you, Kevin, where do you see the future of nursing?
I mean, it's fluid and it's very different, and it's been different really since it was invented. Some of the big changes on the horizon are really that student nurses are going to be taking on different roles in the future. So it may be the fact that when student nurses, graduate in 3 or 4 years' time, they're going to be taking on roles that haven't really been invented yet, to be honest, or will be taking on different roles. So a brand new initiative that's happening from this September is our student nurses for the first time are going to be learning how to give intravenous medication and to take blood as part of the training. And that's never been done before, but that's just preparing our students for the roles they're going to have to play when they qualify. Another big push is to care for people in their own homes in the UK rather than in major hospitals. You may find the fact that it wouldn't be automatic that when everyone gets ill, they automatically have to go into a hospital. And there's some fantastic initiatives very locally here to keep people in their own homes where there's less bacteria and less bugs, less chance of infection, but they can have a whole range of different types of treatments in those areas. Our student nurses have been involved with technology, so technology is going to be, a fantastic attribute in the future. So our students have been involved with things like social media and voice-activated equipment, in which case it can improve people's lives with, if they have dementia or they're socially isolated, they've got an area where they can communicate. And the other thing as well is the kind of increase in long-term conditions. So again, more patients nowadays worldwide are going to have diabetes, and more patients worldwide are going to have dementia and other types of long-term conditions. And people are living longer, which means the fact that the focus might be moving away from more acute care to caring for people who've got long-term conditions who are going to live a lot longer. And those people also have lots of complex problems in their life. So hopefully our student nurses will learn the different skills to be able to try to problem solve some of those complex issues that they may have. So that's really how the future's going, I would say.
Fantastic. And I understand that the University of Plymouth has one of the largest collection of humanoid robots in Europe. How are they being used in the nursing? I think you mentioned the simulation ward, but I understand they're also being used in mental health as well.
Yeah, so we've got some brand new mannequins that we use in the simulation wards opening in September. And it means that those mannequins we can have a person in a different room using them remotely, and they can talk and they can blink and they can make different sounds. In which case, then they're trying to make it almost like a human. But again, people can practice and simulate a whole range of different skills, and you can inject into those mannequins, and you can put tubes in and out, things like that as well, which is really, really important. And also in areas such as like mental health care as well, some of the robots are being programmed so they can give counselling to a very, very high standard. And they kind of learn different types of skills, in which case they have been found to be very, very effective in comparison to humans to help you with a whole range of types of mental health issues. So lots of innovations, and lots of that is happening in Plymouth.
I think, yeah, you can see why Plymouth was ranked #1 in the latest Research Excellence Framework. We were ranked #1 for research in the area of medicine, and using robots is all part of that. It's becoming an increasing theme in the development of research in that area. So yeah, the University of Plymouth is in a great position to continue that ranking moving forward for nursing courses. As we near the end now, I just wanted to talk about applications and also scholarships with yourself, Izzy. So we had a question from Abigail. She asks, are there any scholarships available for the nursing courses? I didn't know if you could touch upon them, please.
Yeah, so you're in luck at the moment. The university are actually running a scholarship scheme. So it is through the university and not through the college ourselves specifically. So you won't actually receive any discount while you're in your foundation year. However, the score that you achieve then in your foundation year will enable you to get discount throughout your degree with the university. So here you can see in the table you can get up to £6,000 off your tuition fees. So this is quite a significant amount off, really. So yeah, as long as you continue to be achieving a grade higher than the average, then you'll continue to receive the discount throughout the duration of your degree.
Fantastic.
You don't need to kind of do anything to apply for this either. It's automatic. So as long as you're achieving those grades, it will be applied.
Absolutely. No paperwork to fill out. Happy days. So you can see our website at the bottom of this slide. So if you'd like to find out more information about those scholarships, you can visit upic.navitas.com, visit our Health and Human Science Foundation programs, or you can also look directly on the University of Plymouth website, where you'll find more information about the International Academic Excellence Scholarship. So
yes, I think if you go on the website as well and you look on our kind of Health and Human Sciences Foundation, it's not just the nursing programs there. It does list all the programs, including mental health, child health, and adult health nursing. And then from that, you can click through to the university's page, where it will give you much kind of deeper information on what you're studying, all the modules throughout the whole duration of your degree, and the placements as well. If you're ready to apply for your foundation, on our website, in the top right-hand corner, there's a big thing that says apply now. Alternatively, you can get in contact with one of us here at the college, and I'll be more than happy to assist you with your application, and yeah, make sure you've got everything you need, really.
Absolutely, and that brings me on to my last question, Izzy. So students decided they want to apply. What should they do next?
Go to the website, and there's the apply now button. Or if you get in contact with myself and Izzy, then I'll be happy to send you the link and make sure, talk you through everything you need before you make your application. So we generally require your passport, your certificates. So even if you don't have your final certificate yet, maybe you won't get those for another couple of months. You can send in your predicted grades, and then we just need kind of other information like your English language score, IELTS, to assess if maybe you might need some pre-sessional English. So once you send in everything, if you send us absolutely everything you can and you already have your grades, then we'll issue you with a conditional offer and organise an interview with the nursing faculty at the university. So they will assess you if you're applying for foundation and decide, maybe perhaps you might not be at the right level to join straight away to the university, but they can really see the potential in you. And after a foundation year, they think you'll be the perfect candidate to go on to them.
And adding to that, if you're not sure whether you need to do a foundation or whether you can enter first year directly, then that doesn't matter. Just send in your application. We all work closely together. We've got our admissions team here, and they will advise you based on the grades you have and your English language skills, which course you need to do. Obviously, where students are qualified to start first year straight away, we always encourage that. But if you'd like to do the foundation, as you prefer a bit more time to settle in, that's always an option for you as well. So do apply. It doesn't matter which channel you go through, you'll be directed accordingly, and you'll be put through to the right person. So did anyone else have anything to say as final words? I don't think so.
I would say don't be afraid. And again, we've got a long track history of helping to train thousands of student nurses and other health professionals as well to become very, very successful and have fantastic careers. So, yeah, from my point of view, I kind of stuck with one aspect of nursing for my whole practical time. But again, there's so many different types of nursing that people can go into. So, if you want a job that has got lots of variability, then I'll say nursing is the kind of career for you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time, Kevin. Thank you very much, Izzy. If you've got any questions, do email us, info@upic.plymouth.ac.uk, and we will be there to answer your questions as soon as possible. Until then, we'll see you another time. Thank you very much.
Okay.